Hard times knocking on my front door. I remember the inner city riots from '84 and Maggie Thatcher's hardcore war on the poor. The rich be getting richer cause they're always taking more.
Have you changed your lifestyle sufficiently? Are you one of these people that's calling for the vaccine? Are you one of these people that are calling for more lockdown? Have you actually done any form of in-depth analysis and study into what the hell this phenomena is? Is it something that we need to be scared of and fearful of? Have you heard that Donald Trump and the White House staff have already been vaccinated? That means if they've been vaccinated, they've isolated the actual pathogen and they know exactly what it is. Hence, they've created a vaccine. Do you know how to be safe yet? Is it safe from 2 meters? Is it safe if you wear a scarf, a mask, some goggles, some gloves? Keep your distance, keep at home, locked alone? Have you cut yourself off from your family, from your extended family? Have you cut yourself off from your girlfriend and your boyfriend and your wife and your husbands and your lovers and your brothers and the others? Are you sick and tired of it yet? Have you not just had enough? Do you know what it is? Do you get the feeling that this is just like one big social experiment? Do you get the feeling that we're all caught in this sick dream, that we're all part of this mad, sick, twisted, 21st century, disassociated movie? Do you get the feeling that we're all caught in a trap? Do you get the feeling that something just isn't right? Do you get the feeling that you're just not being told the truth? Do you get the feeling that the media is the fifth estate? Do you get the feeling that there's a global narrative here? That there's a global grand scheme of things? Do you know what the origin of the COVID is? Was it Wuhan? Let me ask this question, because ever since this whole malarkey started, I've always had a common sense notion that if you have a ground zero where a virus breaks out, and it's an unknown virus which was highly contagious, high death rates, high morbidity rates, and what have you, then you quarantine the area around ground zero. You quarantine maybe a 100-mile radius, a 50-mile radius, and you make sure nobody comes in and nobody comes out. That to me is just basic common sense. That's safety 101. And yet from the very onset, governments around the world were actively seeking to repatriate their citizens. But wait a minute. There's a deadly pathogen, there's a deadly contagion, and you want to bring people back home? From the very beginning, I think that's where the mistakes were made, from the very beginning. And yet, since the beginning, the whole world has played out as if it's a part of a global chessboard, as if everything's been orchestrated, as if everything's been planned beforehand. How can every country in the world go on lockdown? How can all the schools in the world be on lockdown and shut down? Not all. Have you heard that in Madagascar, they have a tonic cure? Yeah, I said it. In Madagascar, they have a tonic cure where there's no more than 5 deaths on that island as a result of the COVID or the corona. No more than 5 deaths. They're actively, they've stopped their lockdown. Everybody's back to work. Everybody's back at school. Everybody's living their lives as normal. But the World Health Organization and the West have said explicitly that there can be no cure coming out of Africa. And that they are very suspicious of any tonic cure, any homeopathic remedy. So we've all got to wait for the Bill Gates remedy, a vaccine. What the hell? Do you want to be a pigeon for the rest of your life? Do you want to be a statistic for the rest of your life? Have you noticed how 80% of the population or 85% of the population are voting with their feet and hands saying, yes, we want further lockdown? Have you noticed how the sheep are policing the sheep? Have you noticed how the neighbours are calling the police on their neighbours who are going out more than once or twice a day? Have you noticed that people are running around begging for the vaccine? Have you noticed that 85% are dumb, deaf and blind? Have you noticed that 85% of the people are deaf, dumb and blinded to the realities that confront us and face us all? Have you noticed? Do you know about the links between Bill Gates and the World Health Organization? How does the World Health Organization consist of a membership of heads of state and members of governments and parliaments that represent nations around the world, and yet Bill Gates sits with them and works with them, and he's a key philanthropist that donates billions of dollars a year? His dream is to create a vaccine. Did you know that there was a very successful treatment originating in Madagascar? Did you know that there was a very successful treatment originating in Madagascar? It's called COVID organics.
Madagascan President Andry Rajoelina has officially launched a medicine he believes can prevent and cure patients suffering from COVID-19. Developed by the Malagasy Institute of Applied Research and branded COVID Organics, President Rajoelina presented the so-called remedy to the press on Monday. It contains artemisia, a plant cultivated on the Big Island to fight against malaria.
All trials and tests have been conducted, and its effectiveness in reducing the elimination of symptoms has been proven for the treatment of patients with COVID-19 in Madagascar. So today I think that I am convinced, in fact, that history will prove us right. But today there are already 2 cases that have been cured with the COVID organics, but we'll actually see what happens next.
Did you know that a good diet, a good exercise regime, and breaking a sweat, and eating healthy and taking your vitamin supplements and some good sunshine can help to fight off any form of ailment? Did you know that your body is a perfect tool to fight off any form of viral contagion? These are things that they don't tell us. These are things that you just have to know about. I've asked a number of questions which you probably won't be able to answer off the tip of the top of your head. Another question, did you know that they're running and mapping out 5G around the nations now, that every school that has been closed down has been rapidly installing 5G, unbeknown to staff members and unbeknown to parents alike? It's happening in America. I would say it's basically happening throughout the rest of Europe and the rest of the world, that 5G is being installed inside your schools on the low, on the down low, so that you don't know about it until it's too late.
Alright, these cops are acting weird. How's it going? Question for you. Why are you writing my license plate down?
Any other questions you got?
No, I want to know why you're writing my license plate down.
Thanks for your question.
And why you're all standing around here. Why are there cops here at the school? What are you guys installing?
Any other questions?
No, you want to answer any of them?
Nope, I don't.
Why?
Because I don't have to. I don't want to.
Why are there 3 cops here that aren't even in cop clothes? I'm trying to figure out
what... Are you going to church?
I'm trying to figure out what everybody's doing at these schools.
Are you on private property there? Why are you parked in there?
That's a real deflective question.
It really is.
Why can't you answer any of mine?
I don't want to.
Because you're up to no good, aren't you?
Why don't you answer my question?
Are you trying to kill my kids?
I'm trying to kill your kids?
Yeah, what are you
You
guys
got some
doing here?
identification on you?
I don't think that
I think
matters.
we need to call some law enforcement over here.
I think
You're
we have
acting
some.
weird.
I haven't done anything wrong. I have rights.
You're coming over here asking weird questions.
Weird questions
Yeah,
that
weird
you won't
questions.
answer.
You think people are trying to kill you
No,
and
I
your family.
don't. I'm questioning if your guys are installing 5G in this school. Because I have it on a good source that you are.
Okay.
And will you answer that question?
Nope, I won't.
You won't answer
Nope.
it? Okay. I'll make sure to share this record with
You
people.
go do that.
Thank you.
I got your plate.
Is that a threat? You have my plates?
I got your plate.
So you're what, gonna show up at my house and do something? I'm not afraid of you, man.
And you think you're recording and you think that's appropriate? Why are you recording this?
Because it's
Why are you
suspicious.
recording this?
Because it's suspicious. All right?
You think people are trying to kill you and your
I
family.
think that you guys are installing 5G and it's very dangerous.
Okay.
And you guys are told to lie about it.
Stop recording me. You don't have my permission to record me.
Okay, this is a free
Stop
country.
recording.
Goodbye.
Stop recording.
I don't think so.
There's something very nefarious, there's something very dark, there's something very out of order that's happening. I'll say that, and I'll qualify that. I'm not one of these people that has a mansion or an island or a private jet. I'm not the head of a corporation. I'm not a CEO. I'm not linked up. I don't have ladders and connections, and I can't offer you any form of economic benefits by following what I say. I don't want you to follow me. I just want you to think about what the hell, what the fluff is going off right here and right now. What are you doing? What are we doing? What are we all doing? Sitting down on our backsides while the politicians are busy making money. Somebody's mapping out their plan. Somebody's rolling out their plans. Did you know that these politicians, the health minister and these other politicians, they've got shares in vaccination companies? Did you know? I mean, we all know. How do we all know? How do we all know that the vaccine is coming? And yet they've not explicitly said that you will have to have a vaccine. But everybody knows. Joe Public, we all know that they plan to stop cash, that they plan to have one world government, that they plan to introduce a police and a paramilitary state, that they plan to keep us locked down for as long as they possibly can. In America, they're having much difficulty because the people them have got mad guns. That's why they spent 5 or 10 years saying gun control, gun control. This is a plan, this is something. Look, don't believe me. Do your own research. The Johns Hopkins Health Institute in America, which is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates, they ran rehearsals, they ran simulations about this particular COVID spread in November of 2019, October in 2019. They ran their simulations and rehearsals. And then after the rehearsals are finished, hey, surprise, surprise, here comes the real thing. But is it a real thing? And do we know what the thing actually is? Everybody's scared. Somebody you know has died. Somebody that you know has cried. Somebody that you know has died or perished at the hands of the COVID or the corona. And yet we don't even know what the corona is. Do your own research. Look into it. What I'm going to tell you is that things are just not what they seem. There's a big smoke screen. There's a big chemtrail that's being fed into all of us. I remember the stories of Jimmy Savile, and that basically got the establishment, that got the deep state, that got these undercover devil-worshipping politicians and royal families and CEOs of international companies. It got them worried because Jimmy Savile knew a hell of a lot about a hell of a lot of people.
Jimmy Savile, turned out, was a serial child rapist, pedophile, and Satanist. This looks like another really strange quote coincidence here, but we have a famous pop star caught with what any ordinary person would consider child pornography, again linked to the royal family, the highest political power, probably in the world, one of the highest, and that, of course, them being linked to Jimmy Savile, another good close friend of the royal family. Maybe it's all just a coincidence, but you know the old saying, birds of the same feather, flock together. This doesn't pass the smell test.
You can see photographs of Jimmy Savile with the Queen, Jimmy Savile with Prince Charles, Jimmy Savile with Margaret Thatcher, with Tony Blair, with all of these major politicians, prime ministers, secretaries of state, kings and queens of Europe. And yet, the people failed to act on what was in front of their face. We chose to believe that the Queen is our benefactor, that she is some beneficent old lady that sits on top of her ivory tower, that sits in her throne with the Star of Africa, and she does a very good job. Now, if you're a royalist and a loyalist and you believe that, well, all well and good, believe that if you want to. But the Jimmy Savile incident should have alerted you to the fact that things are just not what they seem. Are you sensitized to what's happening to David Icke? I'm not a David Icke advocate in any way, form, shape or manner. I like some of the things he says. He's very well read and very well researched in certain areas. In certain other areas, I find his ideas fantastic and outlandish and completely nonsensical. But take it or leave it alone. What I find to be glaringly obvious, what I find stares me in the face and is staring all of us in the face, is the fact that all of the royal families in the world, the queens, the kings, the princes, the princesses, all of the governments in the world, the presidents, the prime ministers, the cabinet members, the members of parliament, all of the priests and the popes and the imams and the Baptist ministers, all of these people in positions of power. Check out every pillar of power in our society: government, religion, monarchy. And then we have the other pillar of power, which is corporations and business. So check out every single pillar: businesses, government, religion, and monarchy. And all of these pillars of power have been proven to be invested in paedophile politicians, paedophile princes, paedophile priests, preying on the poor, preying on the downtrodden. All of them have been found guilty. All of them have been found out with their hands in the cookie jar. Jimmy Savile alone will alert you to that fact, that children sacrifice, that murderers sacrifice, and homosexual, sadistic, and sodomy, and all sorts of madness has been happening in the name of democracy, in the name of freedom, in the name of royalty, in the name of society. And yet everybody is okay with it. But I'm not okay with it. I find it sickening. I find it maddening. It's like we're stuck in a rut. It's like we're caught in a bad movie, in a horrible movie. Who else has had that feeling that they're waking up and they don't even know what day it is? They don't know if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They don't even know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Do you know what day it is? Do you know what's happening? Do you know what's going off beneath the scenes? Are you one of those people, or are you one of the insiders? And you've got the information that's given to you on the down low. Do you know that things will never go back to how they were before? Are you an optimist? Or am I a messenger or harbinger of doom and gloom, as I've been called before by those near and dear to me. It looks like, it feels like the media is the sounding ground for the politicians and the global elite to present their version of events. But their version of events doesn't seem that palatable. It doesn't seem that real. There seems to be some truth in the COVID. But understand that over 95%, over 99% of the deaths which occur from so-called COVID are deaths that occur with pre-existing conditions. So that's what they call comorbidity. So understand that. Be aware of that. Some people say that the coronavirus is a biological weapon, a bioweapon. I'm not so sure if its primary purpose is as a bioweapon. But it's definitely a socio and psycho-technological weapon. It's definitely a smokescreen. It's definitely a Trojan horse. It's definitely pulling the wool over your eyes. It's definitely bamboozling us. It's definitely hoodwinking us. When I mentioned that all of the royal families, that all of the politicians, that all of the priests and the imams around the world and around the globe and all of the CEOs are all implicated, they're all involved in this devil slavery and devil worshipping and sex slavery. And in Saudi Arabia, for example, the scandal has been out. The scandal has been fully blown up. Read into it, Google it. Saudi Arabia sex slave scandals. How ministers and princes and imams are all being disposed. The African leaders, black people around the world, are asking themselves, what's going on? How come we're the worst hit? How come blacks in the United States of America and blacks in the United Kingdom are being hit hard by the COVID-19? Well, the answer to that is that we're the hardcore frontline staff. We're the cleaners. We're the nurses. We're the ones that, we're the carers, we're the assistants. Over proportional representation of black and ethnic minorities are in these jobs. I've traveled around at 4 or 5 in the morning, and that's when I see blacks going into town and out of town. We're the cleaners still. Even Africans come to the United Kingdom with PhDs and master's degrees and can't get a job other than cleaning because we're living in that stupid kind of state. But that's another story for another time. But Africans are saying, how come Africa's in such a quagmire? How come China's taken over Africa? How come America's fighting in Africa? How come China and America are at each other's throat? It's a battle for global colonial domination. That's pretty obvious. That's pretty obvious. Tourism has been hard hit. But did you even know that tourism is synonymous with paedophilia? No, we don't. We're not aware of that. We don't think on the levels that these demons and these devils think. I call them demons and devils because that's the level that they're operating on. If you have people which believe in sodomy and believe in human sacrifice and believe in paedophilia and believe in this adrenochrome as being the height of their sexual delight and the height of their human experience, then they're demons and devils. Tourism, paedophilia is synonymous. Don't believe me? Look into it for your own self. Look at the number, the sheer vast number. Thousands and thousands of priests and popes have been implicated in child sexual slavery and child sexual exploitation and perverse paedophilia. It's something you don't even want to think about. Something you don't want to even contemplate. It's something that any sane or rational human being would never even contemplate for a second to bumbara. It's something which is so far removed from our everyday reality that it just seems like insanity. Indeed, it is insanity.
What's going on tonight? Hard times, knocking on my front door. I remember the inner city riots from '84 and Maggie Thatcher's hardcore war on the poor. The rich be getting richer cause they're always taking more. So we went to school with the holes in the soles of the shoes. The teachers used to laugh when we expressed our views. I went home kinda confused. I watched my mom's drown away your sorrows in booze. The Thunderbird is special bruise, but yo, I refuse to lose. Work hard, train hard, praise God cause I'm a winner. Remember the times we only had sleep for dinner. Robbers, thief and hustler, nothing but sinners inside the room. From the womb to the tomb, I wasn't born with a silver spoon.